Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, and I would like to take you around my garden. This morning I pulled 4 potato plants just to see how they were doing. These are the collards. We've been giving a bunch to the chickens lately. And what's left of my yellow potatoes still to pull. My green beans sporadically coming up with some beets that were already growing in here a few months ago when I had spinach in this bed with the beets. Trying out amaranth to see what that tastes like. More beets and green beans. This is bok choy that I've let go to seed. I'm going to cut that down and hang it in my greenhouse so the rain coming in a bit doesn't ruin that seed. Some onions from last year going to seed. Plantain and lavender. These are my 3 tomato rows. Those are volunteer dill. So, I've got brandywine tomatoes, some calendula tucked in, cherry tomatoes, some marigolds and basil. I planted my extra cauliflower underneath this trellis where the cucumbers and extra tomato plants are going to grow. Between my main tomato crop are my sweet onions and my red onions. So this year I'm growing beefsteaks, golden jubilees, dusters, I think Dad's sunset. We had lots of rain night before last and it knocked some of my onions down. But those are going to keep growing. Done the Charles Dowding planting version, bunched together. I do have my tomato plants very close this year, but I am pruning them pretty heavily. Lots of little babies down there. Can't wait to eat those in July. Oh, and here I put parsley and sage. And I forget the name of this. I was trying this one out new this year. Some kind of herb. Cucumbers. This is where I planted my green beans that I sowed last year, or saved seeds from last year, and only 3 of them happened to come up. Let's get that weed out of there. Calendula, and this is where all my red potatoes were that I pulled at the beginning of June. In the back are the first raised beds that we built, and they're full of strawberries. And in between the stone garden and the strawberry bed is asparagus. And we're here at the bottom row of tomatoes. I have around 40 tomato plants. I had extra cherry tomatoes I wanted to put somewhere, so I planted them right where the potatoes were grown previously, so we'll see if they like that or not as the year progresses. And I started a few tomato plants later so that I could hopefully have a fall harvest. So I've got 4 little baby tomato plants in here. Chamomile has started to look nasty, but I've gotten several harvests off that for teas over the winter. But it's flowering again now. I put some flowers in for the hummingbirds, but there is stevia and lemon balm in the back corner. Now on the western side of the garden, we're going to have peppers with some nasturtiums mixed in, Roma tomatoes, more peppers, cauliflower that really needs to be pulled now. It's very old and it's getting hot here in Virginia. Some corn. This is a bed we haven't gotten to building yet, so it will be done this fall. At the far end, I had nasturtiums planted because I'm going to put in winter squash down there, and I transplanted a few extra green bean plants down there, which I don't care if I rip them out before the squash go in. This bed we didn't have a chance to fill. We built it after I had the peas growing, so you can see the peas are all ripped out now. A little bit of brown that's left are the ones that I let go to seed. So once I have all that ripped out, we'll fill this bed up with compost. I have some of my sweet potatoes started here. I put sweet potatoes at the ends of these rows so they can take over, because they absolutely will take over. And I have 4 arches for pinto beans. More sweet potatoes on the end. This will be very pretty in the summer when the beans take over. And more sweet potatoes on the ends of the rows here. Watermelon in those 2 beds. That had nothing in it, and I took my strawberry vertical planter apart so the strawberries could reach the dirt with their runners to make me more plants. And over here is zucchini and crookneck squash. I'll take you over there in a minute. I've pulled half my carrots. I need to get the other half pulled, but it's been raining, so I'm happy to let them get water because I never ran irrigation in this bed, so I've been hand watering this bed the whole time. More nasturtiums. Our bluebird house. And we have tree swallows in the house on the other side of the garden. I don't know if I can show you. Carrots are very happy. This bed has not grown stuff well. I think I need to get the irrigation in here, but nothing I've grown in here has worked well. It's all just stayed small. But the 3 back plants are carrots from last year that I transplanted, and hopefully they'll go to seed and give me some seeds for next year. 2 extra sweet potato plants. My oldest growing green bean section. Hoping to be harvesting those soon. And we do have zoysia planted in the garden rows. We want that to fill in. And I can mow that with my electric mower. This is the kale section, which I've been harvesting from, but they have stayed pretty small. I think it's because we've created a whole new dirt environment, whereas the soil in the ground, everything down here, we've grown in for years and years, and we ripped it up last fall to create these raised beds. So the soil we had built up in the ground with wood chips and compost for years and years, was very healthy and grew stuff really well. But when we made these beds and we filled them, the soil just doesn't have as much life in it yet. But we have been throwing earthworms in. We have lots of earthworms. There's the kale. The lettuce has gone to seed. This is where I've harvested lettuce and they're trying to regrow again. I leave the roots in the ground as much as I can with all my crops. Kale. And this is where the garlic was that my husband pulled out just last week. So we are a very messy working homestead, still under construction. This is the zucchini and crookneck squash with nasturtiums planted around. I was told nasturtiums would keep squash bugs away. I don't know if that's true yet or not. This is zucchini I'm letting go to seed. Just grow really, really big. But otherwise I've been picking them small. Beautiful little crisp mint lettuce. That was among the garlic, but now it's all by itself. And that's it for the main central part of the garden today, June 14th, 2022. Let me show you my peppers. They're so happy. These little tomato cages are good for peppers. Don't bother growing an actual tomato in these cages. It will not hold them. I ran out of my big cages that I have my tomato plants growing in. So for the Romas, I just used a stake, and I got these elastics from M.I. Gardner's store. And I'm tying the tomato plants up as they go. Basil's big, I need to harvest that. And that's it. My sad cauliflower. Taking out all the big plants already. Just seeing if these will grow anymore. That's a good one, ready to harvest. We love roasted cauliflower. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.